2, 3, 4.
Sunday papers, read everything on Sunday. Yes, Sunday. That's all for the week. Yes, on Sunday.
3, 2, 1, and we are off to the
Read
races.
all about it. Read all about it.
There we go.
We're drowning in LA.
Oh my God, my dad. All right, the amount of people contacting us from out of town
Yeah.
because of the media.
Right.
My dad basically kept checking to see if my sister and I were alive. I'm like, I had to pause the TV. I'm like, I don't even hear it raining.
I think because New York gets a fair amount of rain. I grew up with intense rain.
Yeah.
And this shit didn't faze me at all.
Except, all right, so here's one thing that happened. So I don't really hear that much rain, but Olivia comes in and she was driving. She goes, I couldn't even see. I'm like, really? Because normally I hear it on the roof. And so I come into the bathroom. This is Monday, day one, like full day one of craziness. And a drip is coming out of the light above the sink. So that's always like, oh man, turn that light off fast as you can. And I'm like, all right, what's going on? And there's a roof deck above it. I go up to the roof deck. I'm about to step out. I stop. I am not kidding you. There is 6 inches of water. And the deck is probably 20 by 12. That's a swimming pool. And before I stepped
There's no
out,
drain?
there is, and leaves I have a little, like a shitty struggling lemon tree up there. Leaves got blown off and covered the drain. And it doesn't have the drain. You know how some drains come up a little?
Yeah.
They're not flat. Well, they're that way for a goddamn reason. And anyway, this one's flat, like the one in your bathtub. So before I stepped out, I'm like, I can't even imagine how much it weighed. And I'm like, if I step out there, am I just going to go flying down through my bathroom? And so I went out, I cleared the drain. Even though it formed a funnel, like it was draining so quickly, it took forever to drain. But
did you wear sneakers or were you barefoot?
I had these, what I thought were waterproof Timberlands on. Turns out one of them not waterproof at all. And they also went up and over the other one towards the end. So anyway, then I look and Brentwood got 9 inches of rain, I think, before Tuesday. I mean, that's an insane
I know there was
amount
a foot.
of rain.
There was a foot before last night, and then last night they said, yeah, there's going to be a little bit more tonight. And then last night was, I think, the most intense rain we've had.
It was the loudest.
Yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it later. We have a story about it, but no, it was.
LA can't handle it.
I got a lot of people. My mom didn't reach out. My mom never reaches out. Just giving
Old
up on me.
people in Florida, I mean, this is their bread and butter. I can't believe that.
I know. So happy Super Bowl Sunday. We're going to make our wagers later. We got some bets we're going to place.
Yeah, I'm thanking you for doing this on a Thursday, by the way, because I got the itch. I'm waking up. I'm going to bed any minute now because I'm waking up at 4 and driving up to Mammoth to enjoy some of the moisture, the snow.
What is that, like 6 hours?
No, especially at that hour, it'll be closer to 4 than 5, I think.
Wow. So you'll be on the slopes by 9 a.m.
That's the goal.
And then ski all day. You got a place to stay, and then you're going to ski the next day?
Yeah, that's the idea. And then drive home, which is going to take some Adderall, that drive.
Jesus Christ.
And yeah.
What's the rush?
Well, there's hardly any rooms. There was a room Friday night. There's a room Friday night, and in that place, no room Saturday night.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
But also, I want to get back. Super Bowl's that day. I already committed to watching it at Penn Mar.
Yeah, Mikey keeps talking to me about that, but I don't. My last experience watching the game, I watched the playoffs, and there was like a dozen hungover girls drinking fucking mimosas, talking about Taylor Swift. I couldn't even hear the game. I want to sit. I want to hear what these jocks I want to hear what the guys that used to beat me up in high school have to say about the other guys that beat me up in high school.
I loved it because full Philly fans were there last year. I mean, Penmar is kind of a Philly bar.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of Philly people there.
And I love it when they lose.
Yeah.
They're such good losers. They're not even good winners.
They riot when they win too, right?
They're just angry people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tread lightly because my agent's trying to get a date from Philly right now. So I love Philly, love the people.
Yeah. They're great.
We had the Grammys this past Sunday, and did you go to a party or a show or a concert?
I went to a show. So Americana, which is a category, Americana, Jason Isbell won it, our boy. He's also getting, I think I put it in there, he's getting divorced. Anyway,
Jason Isbell? No way!
Yeah, he filed for divorce.
He just did that documentary showing how important she was to his life.
Well, they also showed struggle in that. Remember he was at a hotel for part of it?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about, but she seems, like a live wire. Put it that way. She seems, yeah.
It's going to be the name of his new album.
And I think it's an AC/DC title, actually. Is it Livewire? I forget. Anyway, so anyway, I saw him. He was there. So Americana, which is kind of, the country that everybody's listening to, a lot of it is in there, Tyler Childers and all that.
It's like the original country.
Kind of, yeah. And it's like folk also. A big part of folk is in it. So Americana does this tribute every year. This year was to Paul Simon. And so it was, I wish there were more events like this. It was 22 artists. You come out, you do one song. There's no downtime. They had it down. And so like Isbell,
and they're all Paul Simon songs.
All Paul Simon songs. Isbell was like the second one out of the gate. I mean, Dwight Yoakam was later. Jackson Brown. Poe, I'm forgetting their names. These two sisters, one plays slide guitar. They killed it.
Oh, that's incredible.
Oh no, it was great. It was really good. And so, so that's what it, and the introduction of Jackson Brown, because when I saw he was on the list, I'm like, oh man, I'm seeing Jackson Brown. It was at the Troubadour. And I'm like, I'm seeing him at the Troubadour. And for those of you that don't know, there is a giant chapter in music history at the Troubadour. It's Linda Ronstadt, the Eagles, Jackson Brown, and then it was such a big thing. That's where Elton played when he came to town. But the intro to Jackson Brown was, here's a guy who's had the keys to this place since he was 17.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
I went to a Grammy viewing party.
I saw the social media and it looked great.
So I bought our good friend Tom, and we ate a handful of mushrooms as we walked in. And it was just, every single dude, without exception, had on black jeans and goofy shoes. That's the thing with rock and roll. You got to have goofy Jeff Ross looking shoes. And then the women were all like, bras were checked at the door. Illegal to own a bra at this gathering. And a lot of tattoos, everybody was sexy. And I sit down at my table and I look at the name tag at the place setting next to me, because you have your name at your place setting. Caitlyn Jenner. I'm like, yes!
Sexy.
Yes! This is going to make up for the time I was going to play golf with O.J. Simpson before my friend said he wouldn't play with him. We got paired up at a public course. He said, no. I said, this is going to make up for it. So she doesn't fucking show up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why? It was such a huge year for women, as we'll talk about later. Why wouldn't she have been there?
But I had a great table. Bob Saget's widow was there, and I sat next to this amazing woman named Marcia Stephanie. Forget her last name, but she's from Jamaica. She lives in Costa Rica. And you ever meet somebody at something like this and you just fucking bond? Part of it I was on mushrooms, but we talked. We were there for 6 hours. We got there at 4:00 and we left in more than 6 hours, maybe 7. And I must have talked to her for 3 of those hours, like intimately talking. She was amazing.
Oh, she looked it. I saw it on social. Tom kept taking. Also, Tom. I keep saying social media, but Tom also would send pictures to the text chain.
Yeah, which I'm sure my wife loved, seeing me with this beautiful woman.
Were you on her lap at one point?
At some point,
like
we practically. But it was all very innocent. She's married, and we talked about her kids, showed pictures, but it was a spiritual meeting of the minds. And then, all the comedians were at this one table in the middle. We weren't at the comedian table, but it was Tiffany Haddish and Burr and Nikki Glazer and a bunch of comics that you know. And then fucking Black Crowes, who were on my bucket list of bands that I need to see in my life. They came out. And let me tell you something. Chris Robinson is one of the great frontmans in rock history. He is a fucking badass, and his voice is 100%. The band sounded amazing. They played all the songs he wanted them to play. The dance floor. I mean, it's just a kind of a baller move to go up in front of a bunch of rock stars and be the band that plays.
At their best, I think they're like the American faces, and he's very much like Rod Stewart when he's bringing his A game. You know what I mean?
No, I remember him saying that the Faces was like their main influence.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Southern rock and the Faces, and so
I told you the time. Our great friend John Sorelli hired me. He worked for like some newspaper in Jersey. Anyway, they were playing a place, and he goes, "Dude, you love the Black Crowes." I'm like, "Yeah," and they had that album out. Anyway, maybe it was their second album. So he goes, "Bring your camera, and you could get a press pass." And he goes, "This is how the press pass works. You're up with the photographers. You get to be in the pit, I think, for the first 2 songs. Then you just become a civilian." I'm like, oh my God, what a dream. So I get out there, I get my camera, and I'm keeping in mind, it's kind of like when Pete Scott had us hold the speed guns at the World Series. It's like, but that got us into the World Series in Yankee Stadium. It's like, okay, but I also can't drop the ball on the one thing I'm here for. So I'm reminding myself of that, and all of a sudden the opening notes were like, dun, 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 and it was their fucking giant song, and I was slack-jawed, and he just ran towards the microphone like the Clash, just ran towards the microphone, and they started their first song, and I swear to God, I was a minute in before I realized I hadn't taken a single photo. I was literally starstruck.
Melody. That's what they closed with Melody, that song.
Oh my God. Imagine. And they opened with it when I saw those are the first notes. I couldn't focus on anything.
And the greatest thing was they had a couple new songs, and there were
Remedy,
I mean, yeah. You just saved me a lot of emails.
Yeah.
And there was these girls in their 20s that were singing the words to their new songs. I was like, yeah, these guys are still fucking it was great. And then the best part is we got served this great dinner. They had like Kobe beef, and then like 5 hours in, you're starving, and all of a sudden like 30 waiters come running out with In-N-Out burgers.
Wow.
Yeah. It was great.
In LA, you'd save so much money if you were a charity. If you were like, all right, do you want the chicken salmon or In-N-Out? Like, everyone's going In-N-Out.
And also you stumped me last week, or somebody did, talking.
I did.
Did you bring up pegging?
Yeah, I sure did.
Okay. I legitimately had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
So, of course, I Googled it right after we finished the show, and mixed on that one. I don't know that I don't know that I'm down for it. I definitely don't like watching it. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
But I have to say, you get one life. You get one trip around this fucking ball of cheese to try everything. Would you, in a wild night, try pegging?
I don't think so. And wait a minute. For the listeners who did not listen last week, I'm not like this pro pegging guy. There was a story with the word legging in it, and I made a word play, and I put pegging in it.
Right.
And you were like, what's pegging? And that's how this got started. It's not like me recommending a band to Greg that I love. So pegging is not my thing. Never done it. And you just said like, yeah, I don't like watching it. I don't think I've never watched it.
Yeah, I got the point very quickly. And I think I watched about 9 seconds of the video. I was like, I got pegging. I don't think it would ever happen to me. I certainly wouldn't ask for it to happen. But who knows? Valentine's Day is coming up. Valentine's Day, and we have a promotion we're going to read later, and maybe we'll get into that.
Yeah, if you slipped and fell on, things happen. You don't know what happens on Valentine's Day.
So speaking of the emergency room, JoJo comes home the other day. She sleeps all fucking day. She's holding her stomach. It's getting worse and worse. And Erin does not want her going to bed because Erin had an appendectomy about 4 years ago.
Oh, I didn't know
an emergency appendectomy. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
Yeah, so she was worried about her. So we went to the ER. We went to St. John's emergency room, which, by the way, it was a Sunday night. No, Monday night maybe. Yeah, Monday night. Pouring. It was at the height of the storm, and we get to the ER. You go in, and it is just like. You immediately go like, oh, yeah, I get why there was a TV show that was a hit for a decade called ER. And longer. Hell, ER was probably on the air 20 years or something. There is a story over there. There's a story over here. There's another one coming in the door.
Pegging tragedy in the corner.
There is a guy just in a fetal position crying, saying,
can't get unpegged.
He's singing Peggy Sue. And so we get her, and it wasn't bad. We got her in we were in and out of there in like 3 or 4 hours, which isn't bad for an emergency room. We showed up at midnight. And so we go in, million questions. They poke around. They start to ask her questions while I'm in the examining room, which she's 20. And I'm like, don't ask personal questions right now, please.
Right.
And so they send her in for a scan. She comes out. And then she says to her, now what about diet? What have you eaten today? She's like, I had like a bite of yogurt. And she's like, and what about last night? She's like, well, at like 3 a.m, I had Carl's Jr. And I'm like, there's $1,200.
This is where I thought this story was going to end. Did you eat a fetus? Did you eat a viable fetus? Really?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, her stomach was still upset the next day. So yeah. I mean, her friends ate it. They weren't upset by it, but Carl's fucking Jr. Are you kidding me? There's no other options.
I'm with her, man. Sometimes I would do that over McDonald's, I think.
No.
Yeah, there's one by the 10 in Santa Monica. I've gone there. 24 hours.
I thought Carl's Jr. was the bottom feeder of all fast foods. What's the worst?
Am I thinking of Carl's Jr.? No, I'm thinking, is it Jack? What's the sourdough
Jack in the
Jack?
Box. Oh, yeah, Jack in the Box is even worse than Carl's Jr.
Yeah, I think it might be below it. Maybe that's the one I go to.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, that was a fun night. I can't wait to get the bill.
Oh, no. All right, well.
So we got an email from somebody. He said, 2 thanks. First of all, he posted a picture of you. And it was a picture of you being caught.
Oh, that one.
Speeding. And I think, do you use it in your social media as your profile?
You know what happened is I never go to IMDb, and I went there and I realized my last 2 jobs aren't on there, and maybe that'll help it matters in my career. So what I did is I added 2 jobs, and then I've never had a picture on IMDb. For those that don't know, IMDb is Internet Movie Database. It's basically the LinkedIn for entertainment, and it is that. And so you see credits, there's contact info, and all that. So I never had a photo on there. And I'm like, and I was so I hate this business. And I'm like, so I took my red light camera police photo and put that as my photo.
It's actually not that bad of a shot.
Yeah. I think it's kind of good.
I love it. So somebody wrote, so anyway, we have shifted some duties on the show. Mike has assumed the mantle of replying to people on YouTube.
I'm a man of the people.
And so people don't know though, because 12 Kiwi 67 is your handle.
Yeah. I don't know what that is, But I
well,
do know
nobody else does. Everybody, I went on there and I didn't even know it was you until I was like, who the fuck is this guy that keeps replying to everybody?
So I went on, I replied to everybody, and I didn't realize I was in a different Google because there's Gibbons time, right? And then, which is my, my handle on Instagram and stuff. So, which I don't even think Gibbons time is an email. I mean, maybe it is. It's never been activated. But I do have another one, and I went on to sign on for a Gmail account, which is the email address I give to every company when I'm shopping. It's basically, I treat it as junk mail.
Wait,
and
that's the one you gave me.
Exactly. I'll see it like once a year. I'll see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it doesn't have the numbers. It's 12 Kiwis, doesn't have the numbers. So that's what's confusing me. I don't know what that is. But anyway, to answer your question, I went on, didn't realize like which Google account I was in when I answered the YouTube comments, and it was that one. I didn't realize.
All right, so people are very confused.
Yeah.
And then, we got some koozies left. How many we got left? Not a lot, right?
Not a lot, but it doesn't matter. We could order more. But look at this picture of this fantastic-looking woman holding a koozie.
Yes, this woman, I forgot to write her name down, but people are starting to send us pictures of them holding their koozies. We love them, especially when you're a beautiful woman with those giant, sexy glasses, the kinds that you take off and put on the nightstand. Yeah, with bangs.
Now you're creating a
beautiful
story. Does she have a wedding band? We can't see. It's just hidden.
I think the guy said, "This is my wife." My wife.
Well, we see the laundry behind her. Did you notice that?
Yeah, right.
So I'm surprised we don't see a reflection of the photographer in the window panes behind her.
Which is interesting also because there's a window and a door. The window has a blind on it. The door does not. You either get them on both or it defeats the purpose. So she's definitely with a guy, because if it was just a woman, there'd be a blind on both those windows. The logo this week comes from Laith Nabilsi, who has made great ones before, but this one takes the cake. This is the Super Bowl. You are on the 49ers. I am on the Chiefs.
Look at it.
We got Taylor Swift in front of it. And if you notice, the Super Bowl number is for 303, which is the episode this is.
Might it be 203?
203, yeah. Nicely done.
For a guy who thinks about the Roman Empire a lot, you're not great with the numerals.
Hall of Fame song. Jesse Hightower had his 6-year-old sing. I don't know if the baby was it's not a baby, if the child was riffing or how many times they practiced.
Well, yeah.
But this kid nailed it.
It's like when the Clash would use a kids choir for some of their songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Pink
they would
Floyd
do that.
also, yeah. Can't Always Get What You Want. I think that was a kids choir, right?
No, full-blown choir.
Yeah.
Adults,
so thank you,
full-blown.
Jesse, and your lovely child. A lot of corrections. Chris said, heard the pod earlier, not to say, but the Curse and the Smiths, the Cure and the Smiths are quite of the UK variety, not US bands. Did I call them US bands?
I don't know. I hope I didn't. I would never have. I might have slipped with the Cure, but
it might have been on my other podcast now that I'm thinking about it.
Phew.
Johnny Vinton said, I'm sure you're getting lots of comments about this, but allow me to pile on. And I've got a ton of these. You pronounce Patrick Mahone when it's actually Patrick Mahomes. Also, you gave a reason for wanting the Chiefs to win because you like Bosa. He plays for the Niners. Okay, listen. I was on a roll.
We should have a terrible sports talk. You can get great sports talk. It's hard not to everywhere you turn.
Yeah, and they're all right. It's so repetitive. Everybody's right.
Oh, with their institutional knowledge, and they have the inside track on everything.
They've got assistants. We've got Chris
Nerds.
Denman, who only knows Kansas City teams and I guess that actually would have helped.
And fighting.
Yeah. Why did I say Kansas City? St. Louis.
He didn't even get that right.
Scott said, I'm laughing so hard at you confusing Jolly West and Jolly Rogers on Tinfoil Hat. This was a totally different podcast. This is somebody else's I did this week. I called Jolly West Jolly Rogers when I'm talking about the Manson murders.
Oh, I love it.
Tour dates coming up. Portland.
This is interesting.
February 22nd to the 24th at Helium. Huntington Beach at the Rec Room, March 2nd. La Jolla Comedy Store, March 8th through 10th. Hollywood St. Patty's Day show, March 16th. And then new dates being announced for Alaska. I'm going to the North Pole.
What?
To a place called the Ale House on March 20th. You think if you travel that far, you should be at a venue a little more prestigious than the Ale House. And then I'm going to the Spur on March 21st in Fairbanks. And then the next 2 nights at the Center for the Arts, March 22nd and 23rd in Fairbanks. Also, Tampa Side Splitters, March 4th through 6th. And then Boca Raton, April 7th.
All right, where's the North Pole?
It's only about 20 miles south of Fairbanks, so pretty much the center of Alaska.
I'm looking up Anchorage to Fairbanks. How far do you think that is?
Driving? Well, you don't drive. I think you got to fly. But I think it's probably 200 miles.
What is Fairbanks doing so inland? That's crazy.
It's a
I thought
military
everything
town.
in Alaska was on the water.
And what's weird is Fairbanks is a military, I think might even be Navy installation.
I'm guessing Fairbanks is a lot colder, not because it's further north, but because it's not near the water. But it's 359 miles away.
It's also 5 degrees below zero right now. And
if I confused it, Fairbanks is the one inland.
Fairbanks.
Anchorage is obviously a port. Well, somewhere up there, I remember this. I think there was a reality show. Maybe it was just pitched because I heard about it, but I think it made it to air. One of these towns has, we might have even done a story about it, has a, let's call it a small claims court type of scenario where you get in a ring and you fight someone that you have a beef with.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. One of these Alaska towns has that.
That's amazing.
So if it's Fairbanks, you should try to see if it's happening when you're up there.
Dude, come up with me.
It sounds tempting, man. I've never been to Alaska.
I went once and I was absolutely blown away by the sheer magnitude of everything. It's incredible. I was there in the summer. This is going to be March. So, but by the way, I'm watching True Detective, and I said to Aaron last night, because at this point in the series, it's December, so it's dark all the time, and it's, below zero, and everybody's poor. And I was like, why would anybody go there? And the next fucking day I get an offer from my agent to go to Alaska. Isn't that weird?
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Of course, you Google Alaska fights and it changes it to flights.
Yeah.
But now there's Tuesday night fights. But it looks like I thought it was even outside, which seems amazing. Anyway, we should look that up.
Let's look that up. You know what else we got to look up? Things to do on Valentine's Day. Here's the thought I have. How about getting involved? Support for Sunday Papers comes from Joy Mode. Joy Mode is a way to get down anytime. If you want some joy in your life, all you need is about 45 minutes of lead time, and then Joy Mode is it's a supplement. No prescription needed.
You simply mix it with 6 to 8 ounces of water, 45 minutes before boom time, and then you watch the love unfold.
You'll be pegging people within 45 minutes. It's way better than these sketchy gas station erection pills that you can buy. Would you put that in your body? Are you kidding me? Look, it's Valentine's Day. Blow somebody away and make yourself feel. I've taken they sent us some free samples, and I got to tell you something. This weekend, I was Thor. I was Captain America.
Throwing the hammer down?
Throwing the hammer down, and I got to thank Joy Mode for that. It's
wait till you're alone in Alaska on it.
Yeah, so you could, it's designed to support erection quality, firmness, and sex drive. Contains clinically supported doses of arginine nitrate, L-citrulline, Panax ginseng, and vitamin C.
Ginseng. No corrections, please.
Oh, she's going to sing. Forget the ginseng. She's going to sing.
Blood vessel support, cardiovascular and heart health, athletic performance, blood pressure, general erection function. It helps all of that.
All right, listen. Go to usejoymode.com and get 20% off with code PAPERS at checkout. That's 20% off and free shipping with code PAPERS at JOYMODE.com. Be at your best when love is in the air with Joy Mode.
Which brings us to game time, kind of like that game time 45 minutes after taking Joy Mode. All right, I looked up Los Angeles. Game time, we love this app. Get the app Game Time for last minute tickets. We talk about it every week. It's fantastic. Here's Usher he's here September 21st. Usher's playing the halftime show, right?
Yes.
That's what he's doing. Here he is, 183. We're going to watch that go down. They have the Stones, Nuggets at Lakers. It's tonight at 7. That must be an amazing game, because the ticket is still in very high demand. But I like going on here under Discover because it's not only sports. You're going to see events, comedy, music, shows. It's fantastic. Here's Silver Knights at Rain, the Black Pumas, Silver Sun. Oh, I'd like to see Silver Sun pickups. That's tomorrow. See, I use this just to see even what's going on in town. Anyway, you shouldn't have to worry when you buy your tickets to the next big event. It's fast. It's easy. There's killer last-minute deals, all-in prices. They show you the view from your seat and the best price guarantee. It takes the guesswork out of it. And the lowest price cancellation, not only lowest price guarantee, cancellation protection, job loss protection. So you buy the ticket within seconds. One of my favorite parts of the whole thing is they show you the all-in price. You're not like, oh my God, that's a steal, like I am on the other sites, and then it doubles because of all the fees.
Right.
That's not happening.
Also, what's worse than going to a fucking Rolling Stones concert and you got fired the week before and you're worried about money? Not anymore. Not with Game Time.
They got the guarantee. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PAPERS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PAPERS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Speaking of papers, you got one to crinkle?
Let's get into this. Here we go. Okay, that's the last time I'm using that paper. It's a little stale. I got better ones coming up. Baby boomers are approaching, quote, peak burden on the economy. The date could fall sometime around 2029 when the youngest boomers will be 65, according to the census. Boomers are taking up the housing supply. Boomers are contributing to the labor shortage. Boomers will drain Social Security. Boomers are a risk to the stock market. How? Because the retirees who are less tolerant of stock market volatility will pose a downside risk to stocks because they will sell as soon as we tip into a recession. So that's a problem, considering that 55 and older people account for 80% of stock ownership.
Damn. Wait a minute. I'm 57. I should get a little piece of this action.
Peak burden, by the way, sounds like the cause for justifiable homicide. You're caught with a smoking gun. You're like, officer, this, it's killing you too. This dude's a peak burden. You kidding? It makes it a little easier putting the pillowcase over grandma's face. She's a peak burden.
Yeah, I think it should be premeditated murder, manslaughter, peak burden.
Yeah. Peak burden homicide.
These fucking these
Manslaughter.
boomers, those fucking veterans and Holocaust survivors are really working against the Bitcoin jockeys and OnlyFans grandkids living for free in their basements. Fuck them.
By the way, COVID brought the life expectancy down in the U.S. by like 2 years. And now I'm like, I think I'm anti-mask. I want big crowds.
Yeah.
If there's another huge surge, I think we all get together and hold hands and try to make it through it together.
And those crosswalk lights that blink, take those fucking things down. Fast people are going to make it across. By the way, I think I might have, maybe baby boomers are not Holocaust survivors. I don't, right?
Well, the oldest ones could have been a child in the Holocaust.
Okay,
I think.
good. But by the way, without boomers, millennials, speaking of economy, they would have no economy. They get their loans for a down payment on a house, the college funds, the free vacations in Florida, and eventually a nice inheritance. That's an economy on its own.
Yeah, there are going to be all the houses that are going to be passed on. They're trying to incentivize home sales. I don't know much about it, but they're trying to, because people, it's almost like they can't, there's no incentive to sell because of taxes, the tax hit. So they're going to sort of mitigate that, hopefully. But by the way, so I looked up the life expectancy in 2022. The life expectancy at birth in the U.S. increased to 77.5 years. So that's up 1 year from 2021, but it's still down 1.3 years from 2019.
Damn.
It was 78.8 for those born in 2019.
Yeah.
I wonder so that's what I think that means, at birth. So I wonder though, in 2022, what's the average age people are dying of old age, I guess. I don't know how you tease that out.
Yeah.
Like, what's our life expectancy?
If you can get past the first 3 years, that number jumps.
Yeah, and if you get past 22 or 3 also.
Yeah.
Drunk driving.
Speaking of dying, what's going on with the airlines?
Let me tell you, I love this story. Airline announces it will now weigh passengers as well as their carry-on luggage. The controversial move comes from Finnish carrier Finnair, who told media they began measuring passengers departing from Helsinki on Monday. So far, more than 500 volunteer customers have participated in the weigh-ins. In 2010, 58% of Britons said they wanted overweight passengers to pay more to fly. And nearly 80% also said they thought plus-size zones should be introduced on flights. So people are for this.
Yeah, they're into it. I mean, they have them in they want to put them in different zones. Like, does the zone change during the flight? Like, do you put them in the back for takeoff and in first class for landing? Would that help?
Imagine all of them coming up to first class. That would go well. The whole waddling up there. Here comes Finnair's new slogan. We are the hottest airline in the world. Finnair, no fatties. Finnair, tight bods, up in Finnair.
More like thin air.
A little, yeah, exactly. They should change it to thin air, exactly. A spokesman, though, said that all the Americans were making our planes Helsinki out of the sky.
Well, Americans can't do this because, like, there's no overweight people in Finland. I've been there. Everybody is trim. This country, triple XL is the new medium. Yeah.
A lot of the weight in the American Airlines is just to carry all the seatbelt extenders. That's a lot. Yeah. That's a heavy drawer up in front.
I mean, look, this may not be fair. They may cause the plane to crash, but once it does, they serve as airbags on impact, flotation devices out at sea, shark bait,
catering if they crash in the Andes. By the way, we're going to see like Finnair in the air just flying past a fat Southwest flight.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, I told you that time, God, it's I was going out to the vineyard. I was working in New York, and I booked it up to New Bedford, I think. And New Bedford, I remember the name. This was the actual name. Talk about red flags. It was called Fred Air.
Oh, I remember Fred Air. I flew Fred Air.
And my pilot was Fred.
Yep.
And I pull up, and the person, first of all, they're like, we have to weigh your bag. And all I had was a backpack. And I held it up with one hand. I go, you have to weigh this? They're like, we do. I'm like, this is not. Then they asked me my weight. Meanwhile, there's a woman behind me, and I wanted to hang around. I'm like, she better be honest about, like, I'm going to give her space, but she better be, so she'll tell the truth. She better be honest about her weight. But the best detail, having nothing to do with weight, was he comes out and he's dressed like the guy that removes the bumper, you know, the little rubber thing, the triangle, that hold, you tuck it under the wheel so the plane doesn't roll on the runway. So he comes out, he has his cans on his head, so, you know, his ears are protected. He removes those. He has a cigarette in his mouth, by the way. He's smoking on the runway.
Yeah.
He takes those away. This is in the early 90s. He takes those away. He then gets in the pilot's seat with the cigarette in his mouth, opens the window flap and flicks his cigarette out the window, and then reads us the safety material, and then we flew to the vineyard. Swear to God. It was like getting on a tractor.
I am not making this up. I had the same experience, but I was going from Boston to New York. I bought a flight, and, you know, this is before the internet. I don't know. I think it was like in the school newspaper. There was an ad for it. That's how we probably both found it. And so I get on, and it was the same fucking thing. I get to the terminal. Like, you can't even find it was at Logan Airport. Like, you can't even find, it's at the end of a long hallway past the janitor's closet. And then there's a guy behind the counter. He takes my bag, puts it in the plane, gets behind the wheel, and flies me to New York. Now, I should have checked the fine print, because New York for Fred Air is not LaGuardia. It's not JFK. It's fucking East Hampton. We flew to fucking East Hampton. I didn't even know
so much
until
closer.
We landed. Nobody mentioned East Hampton. We landed in East Hampton, and if people don't know the geography of New York, it's about 2.5 hours from New York City. And
with traffic getting, like, if someone had to come out, if they're waiting for you LaGuardia and all of a sudden they had to go to East Hampton, it could be a 3-hour drive.
So I took a bus from East Hampton into the city, and then a train out to my parents' house. It was an extra 5 hours. I could have driven from Boston to my house in less time than flying to East Hampton.
Yep.
Fred Air.
I love Fred Air. I wonder what Fred's up to. He was pretty old then.
Fred's dead.
Fred's dead. Pounding rains force millions of gallons of raw sewage to spill from LA County sewers. On Tuesday, sewage escaped through manhole covers near the Port of Long Beach, about 20 miles from downtown LA. On Monday, a far larger spill occurred 10 miles north of Long Beach. An estimated 8 million gallons overflowed manholes and streamed into storm drains that empty into the ocean.
Damn.
Yeah, just 8 million. Just 8 million.
Wow. I mean, the beaches are going to be a little different this summer. You come home, wow, you got some color at the beach today. Deep, dark tan. It smells a little funky. Did you put white zinc on your nose? Wait, that's toilet paper.
The city, I looked up the quote from a taxi driver. The city here is like an open sewer, you know, it's full of filth and scum. Sometimes I can hardly take it. Someday a real rain will come and wash all this scum off the streets, and it's going to wash it right down to Long Beach and erupt out of the sewers. By the way, I was listening. This is the first time, I didn't even know if my car had AM radio. I looked for AM radio. And because I wanted the latest, like, is the 405 closed? Is LA underwater? So anyway, I'm listening, and they're interviewing this woman who was down near this sewage problem. And she's like, oh, look at it. She's like, look. And the reporter's like, what? She's like, it's all over our mailboxes. That's how high it got. When we can't even touch our mailboxes. There's sewage everywhere. We're waiting for them to come clean it up. So disgusting.
Jesus.
Yeah. Did you get the jury duty notice? I haven't touched my mailbox in months. I have no idea.
You want me to read this one?
No, I got it. My voice is hanging on for another 6 minutes. A rock climber scales the massive sphere in Las Vegas Strip to protest abortion. A man who bills himself as, quote, the official pro-life Spider-Man scaled the 366-foot tall spherical structure near the Strip at 10 a.m. Hey guys, I'm up here on top of this sphere, he says in the video, wind whipping in the background as he explains that his latest stunt was meant to bring attention to his anti-abortion cause while helping raise funds for a pregnant woman who's experiencing homelessness. He said later in a separate post that the money raised will help the woman cancel her abortion payment. I don't know if she's going to prioritize it for that, if she gets a windfall of cash. I mean, if she's homeless.
Yeah, she's going to be like, holy shit, I can afford a baby now.
Yeah, that's what I need. Of course, Spider-Man is pro-life. He didn't have any parents. He was raised by his uncle and aunt, and it all worked out.
Yeah, he was Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, sure, he's a mutant, but he's hanging upside down, making out with chicks. And I have just told you every detail I know about Spider-Man. I know nothing. I can't even write other jokes about it because I don't know anything more about him.
Well, wasn't Spider-Man like Peter? Well, no, Peter Parker was. Is that Spider-Man?
No, Peter
or
Parker's
Superman?
Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah, that's all I know. And he always has beautiful girlfriends.
But I think we learn why I think his nemesis killed his parents. I think there have been 40 Spider-Man movies at this point. I've seen one.
Yeah, the first one was pretty fucking good, I have to say. Yeah. Toby, what's his name?
Parker? No, Maguire.
Toby Maguire was good. Well, look, I love these pro-choice people. They're so these pro-life people. He's so pro-life. I mean, if he's pro-life, why is he climbing a fucking 300-foot wall on a windy day? My guess is this Spider-Man lost his shirt at the craps table and then drained an ATM at the Spearmint Rhino. Life can't mean that much to this guy.
That would be cool to leave him up there during. Imagine if, like, the sphere, you could also see through it. You just see this silhouette crawling around all that crazy footage through the sphere.
Yeah, that'd be pretty badass.
Wait till the Dead shows. There's going to be 40 or 50 dirtbags climbing that thing. Fucking hippies.
I think the superhero for pro-choice is Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay. Abortion probably figured into the Marvel or DC universe. Like, there must have been something about, well, there's a lot of birth defects, right? Or defects.
I had an idea for a superhero once, and it was, I forget what it was. I sent it to John Sorelli, who's our friend who worked at Marvel.
I remember what it was.
Do you remember what it was? Well, I had two.
Okay.
One of them was a guy who was scuba diving in the ocean, and then there was one of those forest fires where the helicopters come and they scoop up the water and they dump it on the fire. So this guy was scooped up, and he's scuba diving, and he got picked up by the helicopter and dropped on a fire where he burned, not to death, but the scuba suit got burned into his skin. So now he's amphibious, and he becomes an environmental terrorist going after the big companies that are starting forest fires, or I forget what it was. John liked it.
Throwing paint on the oil pictures.
Right.
Yeah, you know, didn't we draw up like pictures? Didn't we make rough sketches of it?
I think we did.
Yeah.
I think we did.
And then that story got out somehow.
I think there was something similar that came out.
Yeah.
The other superhero I had was there's a businessman who's in a hotel. He's at like a shitty motel, and he jerks off. And then the maid comes the next day, and she cleans up the sheet, and she She brings it puts it in the laundry bin, and then they're eating egg sandwiches, and some egg yolk gets spilled on where the sperm was on the sheet, and then they put it into the washer and the dryer, and when it comes out, a fetus is embedded in in the sheet, and it grows into the Motel 6 baby, and it spends its life killing traveling salesmen in the Midwest.
It's The Six. Is that the name of the Six?
Six.
One of the movies should be called Do Not Disturb. What else do we got? Free breakfast.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I like that. All right, let's move on to entertainment.
Entertainment.
Pal. Fresh piece of paper. We got the San Diego Tribune was the first place I saw this. And the title, they're sneaky. The title was, "Are the Grammys Marginalizing Men? After Sunday's historic sweep by women artists, it's about time." So they're kind of like justifying their headline, but they're the ones bringing up if men are marginalized. Like, I don't know if everyone was thinking that, but apparently you are, San Diego Tribune, and then you're like, it's about time. So except it was pretty crazy. I noticed it when I was watching because the first time I noticed it was, first of all, they only gave out, I keep saying first of all, they only gave out 10 awards during the whole program.
Is that right?
Yeah. And 9 of them were won by women, and all of them were won by women except Jay-Z's, which was honorary. So it wasn't really honoring this year. So every nominee, every category for this year was won by a woman that was on the telecast. So I'll just read this. Except for hip-hop superstar Jay-Z, who got the honorary Dr. Dre Global Impact Award, all 9 of the other Grammys presented during the rain-soaked telecast were won by women artists. Only one male artist, Jon Batiste, was nominated in the top 3 categories. So that's what I noticed.
I think he's trans, by the way.
No, he's married to a woman. Apparently his documentary is great.
Okay.
But he was sort of wearing, like, it looked like a dress. But that's when I noticed it, when they put all the nominees up there, and there were a lot of them for that final award, and it was all women except him. And Paramore and Boyd. So, by the way, they dominated all the awards that weren't on the show also. Paramore and Boy Genius won rock and alternative categories. Wet Leg scooped the remix of the year. Women triumphed in the fields of country, musica urbana, R&B, African music, and pop dance, where Kylie Minogue won.
Kylie Minogue. Did you watch Sundays, or did you watch Sundays from 2009?
I know. And they say it's this real backlash, and maybe the pendulums, because that guy, Neil Portnoy, who was the leader of the Recording Academy, he had that famous quote after 2018 when they were like, it's too dominated by men. He basically told women to, his words, step up.
Really?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Killer Mike was one of the only male winners. He won 3 awards, and he was immediately escorted out of the building in handcuffs.
That's right.
True story. I think it's because he won.
Yeah. Right.
Cuff him so he can't hold them.
Although I think Chappelle won for comedy, which was very not pro-woman.
Yeah. Jay-Z was the only male winner of the night, during the telecast. And his acceptance speech was literally about a woman should be winning more Grammys. He was talking about Beyonce. She's never won Album of the Year.
She's won more Grammys than anybody in history. By far. I don't know if it's just women, but she's won more Grammys by a long shot than any other woman.
That's the thing. I definitely have a blind spot when it comes to this, because when I hear about also the number, like, I think Mariah Carey has the most number ones of anybody. Then you have Adele. You have all these people. And when you ask me point blank, best voices, best human voices ever, I don't even know how far down I go before I get to a guy.
Yeah. Well, Beyonce has 32.
How many does Mariah Carey have? But she beat the Beatles in number 1 hits, I think.
Beyonce has the most, and then Sir George Solti. I don't know who the fuck that is.
Oh, yeah, classical music conductor.
All right, he has 31. Quincy Jones has 28. Alison Krauss and Chick Corea each have 27.
Wow.
But as far as being a lead singer, you have to go down to Stevie Wonder at 25 for a male singer.
But Taylor Swift
Chick
just
Corea is a
won,
man.
broke records. Anyway, but like if you're asking me, it's Ella Fitzgerald, it's Sarah Vaughan, it's Billie Holiday, you can go Beyonce.
Chrissy Hind.
I'm not putting her in craziest best of voice. Of course, personally, I love Sinead's voice. I do think it was extraordinary. But anyway, my point is, I just think women dominate, and maybe it's not getting these trophies.
I don't know. Maybe I hate to sound sexist, but maybe female performers are a little more compelling on live shows than males. They're better dancers.
And I get the businessman, that has to change, but I consider that a business.
Although men are starting to dance better, right? But still not like the women.
Yeah. Usher. Oh, and your favorite, Chris, Rihanna's ex?
Chris Brown?
Chris Brown, your favorite performer of all time?
Yep. That's my guy.
Mostly for his values?
Yep.
Let's make America Florida.
Now it's time.
Florida man bludgeons. All right, this is a tough headline, okay? But I don't know, just the irony in it. Florida man bludgeons father to death after learning he got the vaccine.
Of course.
The 9/11 caller, who's a friend of the family, described the suspect, Brian.
By the way, I love friend of the family. That's got to be a tough relationship to keep up. You know, he said he's still friends and absolutely not going to get vaccinated.
Yeah. Well, I didn't put these details in there, but I do remember them. So the 9/11 caller is a friend of the family. And she then went on to say that she spoke to the suspect that an hour before for like 3 hours before he hung up. Then an hour later he called and he goes, "You better pack your things and get away because I'm heading to my dad's," which was confusing to her because she lived hours away from the father. So that was already.
Right.
So anyway, the 9/11 caller is a friend of the family. Described the suspect as, quote, a delusional conspiracy theorist. She told investigators he had also recently started using cocaine. So that is not a good combination.
No, and I love that he's against putting unknown substances in your arm, but up your nose, no problem. It's not like
cocaine.
Not like there's any fentanyl floating around or meth.
Yeah. Or that has an adverse effect on your health, even if it's pure cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's so worried about his father's health that he'll hurt himself by taking the vaccine. He got very involved.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Yeah, he stopped the father from what? What is it that they claim the vaccine does to you that it should be avoided?
Well, I know what it doesn't do. It doesn't beat you to death in your kitchen, which is what happened here.
They don't hit that enough. Fauci should have mentioned that more often. That would have brought people around.
It's way more gradual than a pummeling in your kitchen that kills you instantaneously.
No, but what do they say? Your heart expands or something? What do they claim?
It grew 3 sizes that day. I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know.
No, it can bring on an assortment of illnesses. It probably triggers some illnesses. I guess, we're all walking around with cancer. Maybe it activates them.
Yeah.
No, heart. There's definitely concerns about heart.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other things that have been triggered. Is it MS? Some other things have been triggered.
All the anti-vaxxers are screaming at their computers right now.
I know. If you can write in a cogent paragraph that's 5 sentences, that's legitimate concerns, we'll read it. How about that?
Yes, we'll read it on the air.
Don't write us a bad review. We'll be open to it. We'll read an intelligently written 4 or 5 sentence paragraph that expresses some
because I'll claim
concern.
ignorance. I haven't done a lot of research on it. I don't know.
We're aware.
Yeah.
We're aware no vaccine
We're
is
just talking
perfect.
about the numbers, the percentage of people that are endangered by the side effects of it versus the percentage of people that legitimately have not died because of taking it. And
we know it was rushed.
We know it was rushed. Tell us what went wrong when they rushed it.
We also know that if you're really healthy and you're under a certain age, there's a fair conversation to be had if you needed it. I'm also open to hearing that.
Yes.
So we're not crazy. It's not black and white. That's our point, though. It's not black and white.
Which, by the way, if you're white, you probably don't need it.
Okay, let's make Georgia.
I mean, look,
Florida.
we're a podcast, Mike. We're a podcast. We got to be anti-vax eventually.
I know it'll help our numbers. Georgia, here we go. I looked at Alabama stories. They were so dark, I couldn't put it in this
Really?
week. So a Georgia, so I got this one, which is not dark. Georgia woman travels to Connecticut to find son's ashes after UPS package went missing. So this woman said she shipped a box containing her son's ashes, clothing, necklaces, and an iPad to her sister's home in Waterbury. She makes the urns, so she was going to make one for me special, she said. But the package never arrived. The first day, finding out the package was just lost, she said, it was like I lost my son. I lost him. I lost him all over again. I wouldn't say it was quite the same, but we'll continue. UPS apologized in a statement and said, we recognize that no amount of money would compensate for the loss of a loved one's ashes, which is one of the most important reasons UPS declines to transport human remains. We have reimbursed the estimated value of the package content, which was labeled as containing clothing. Lee, the woman, said she received a check for $135.
I guess you can put a price on it.
Yeah. But I think the estimate should have said it's for clothing and dust, which would have kept it at $135.
All we are, that's the official statement was, all we are is dust in the wind.
Yeah. And it's probably in the wind. That's what I'm guessing.
So I think there's a guy in New Jersey right now who's peppering his salad going like, does this taste dry? Is this pepper a little dry? It just arrived yesterday, but it doesn't have that peppery taste.
Just hardly noticing, though, he's watching his new iPad. She said that was an insult and a slap in my face because he was worth way more than that. And I was like, he or the dust? Because you didn't ship him, and it's hard to put listen, as they said, it's hard to put a price on life. It's even harder to put a price on dust. I don't know. I don't know if she's going to win this one.
No. I mean, I think she's just got to accept that wherever she was going to sprinkle those ashes, they were sprinkled in the back of a brown steel truck. That's fine. That's something.
What can we do for you today? We did it. We took care of your son's remains. All right. A little dark. Should we get to sports?
Let's do some sports.
All right. Super Bowl, people. I mean, it's happening in a few hours maybe, or it already happened. What happened? Can you text us right now and tell us so I can bet on it? Get a time machine. What happened?
I can tell you right now, if you follow the conspiracy theorists, they're all saying that the fix is in, that the 49ers are going to win because that's what the NFL wants. I mean, it's amazing how much conspiracy theory has come out around football in the last month. Not buying it. But right now, the spread is, I think, 2 points.
I'm looking it up right now.
49ers are giving 2 points. The under-over is 47.5 points. I think we're going to go over that. But
it might be 2.5 now.
Okay, good.
Which, how is it This fix is, and a lot of people are not buying this fix.
How much are we betting? Was it
No,
40 or 50?
I think it's still at 2. But we'll bet the game time. Oh, yeah, no, most places are 2. Well, I think we said 50.
Okay, $50. And Tim Dilly, who is the guy who we're friends with, who came down and he was generously bid on the golf outing to raise money for out-of-work production people in film and TV.
Yep.
I think I can't say the amount because he says he doesn't want his wife knowing how much he blew on a round of golf on a public course with a bunch of buffoons.
So
but he
instead, we're going to read about his gambling addiction right now.
Well, he's got a thing these are called prop bets, and prop bets are sort of off the beaten path bets. They're incidental things that happen during the game.
I haven't read any. Shoot, hit me up.
Okay, now we have to keep track. So will you keep track in the document of what each of us says?
Yes.
Okay. And you guys as well, what we're going to do is we're going to put a link on the website, fitzdog.com, and you can get the link for this prop bet form, and you can fill it out, put your name, and I think you win something. I got to ask Tim if he's giving out a prize for the winner. So, first bet, will the coin flip be heads or tails?
Okay. I'm betting?
Yeah, you bet. We'll take turns betting first.
Okay, I'm going to bet first. MG says tails.
All right, I'm going to say heads.
Oh.
Next one is first shot of Taylor Swift. Before kickoff, first half, second half, or never. Well, I'm glad I get to pick this one. I'm going to go before kickoff. Yeah.
Yeah, but so can I, because you chose heads. You could have chosen tails also.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
So do you want to go back to 1? You chose what you wanted?
I'll stick with that.
Okay, we both go before.
What type of business will have a first TV commercial? Beer, fast food, car, or other?
Yeah, we used to have that bet. It was car, food or drink, or white guy ad. And what we defined white guy ad was insurance, taxes.
I wouldn't share that. Why would you want people know you ever made that bet?
Okay, we're gonna cut that. Let's cut that out of the show. I didn't count myself as one of those white guys. They weren't for me.
All right, how about this one? So I'm gonna go with beer.
All right, hold on one second. Let me mark where we are here.
Is it 107? 1 hour and 7 minutes.
107. Okay. What were the choices again?
Beer, fast food, car, or other.
Car.
Okay, I'm taking beer, you're taking car. Who will score first, the Chiefs or the 49ers?
Wait, you want beer. Okay, you want beer. Who's going to score first?
Yeah.
49ers.
I'm going to say Chiefs.
Oops.
Number of field goals missed by Jake Moody, 49ers field goal kicker. 0, 1, or more than 1.
Why am I writing this down? We're going to have this recorded. Right?
Yeah, but it'll be faster.
All right. I can't keep up with you, and I'm slowing down the show. All right, let's just keep going. What did you say?
Number of field goals missed by Jake Moody, the 49ers kicker.
0 field goals missed, which I know is all of a sudden an anomaly in football.
I'm going to say 1.
Okay.
What will the clock read at the time of the 2-minute warning of the first half? 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes?
Oh, I see. I'm going to say 2 minutes.
I'm going to say 2 minutes as well. Will Ludacris join Usher for Yeah during halftime show? Wow.
Has Ludacris been canceled at all?
I think so.
By the way, we could probably find out who he's been rehearsing with. I don't know who he's going to have come up. Usher better. I think my kids are going to be like who?
No, Usher's huge.
You think Usher's huge for an 18-year-old?
All right. Will Ludacris join him?
Yes.
I'm going to say yes. Will the score of one of the teams be 10, 7? Let's skip that one. That's stupid.
No.
Number of touchdown passes for Brock Purdy. 0, 1, 2, or more than 2?
More than 2.
I'm saying 2. Will there be a touchdown scored by the defense or special teams of either team?
Sorry, you said defense also?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to have odds for this, but I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say no. Finally, color of the Gatorade. I guess that changes every year. Yellow, purple, or other. I'm going yellow.
I'm going to go red.
Well, that's other.
Okay.
All right. So that's it. And, we could have just filled. I can send it to you and you can fill it out. But
yeah, that's a tough
one. Have fun with that. Have fun with that, people.
You'd have to get odds on some of those.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to this day in history.
Here we go. So We've been doing a fun thing, which is it worked so well the first week. I've taken over this franchise and I quiz you, but I don't put it in the script because I don't want you to see it.
Right.
And the last 2 weeks, I was teed up with a great segment. I had it all in another document, another tab, and then we never went to it. So here we go. This day in history. This is how we're doing it from now on. Gregory.
Yes.
American singer Whitney Houston. She died at the age of 48 on this day. What was the year? Yeah, she died the night before the Grammys.
Notice I'm looking up, so I'm not Googling anything.
In a tub in the Hilton, I think.
I'm going to say Whitney Houston died in 2008.
Wow, you guessed further ago than I know. It's 2012. I didn't think it was 12 years ago. But it is. I thought it was a little less than 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. God, that was sad. And how many people blamed what's his name? Who was her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Not
Jesus.
Bobby Brown. Was it Bobby Brown?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yes,
how many people blame Bobby Brown for that?
I know.
Was he ever charged? Yeah, I guess you can't charge
but then
somebody
the daughter suffered the same fate, didn't she?
Oh, that's right. In a bathtub too, right?
But not on this date. Let's stay focused.
Yes, different date.
After serving 27 years in prison, Nelson Mandela was released on this date. What year?
I'm going to say...
Give or take 3. Give or take 5.
19...
So far, you're right.
1983.
1990. You missed it. Give or take 5.
Jesus.
Let's see if there's another one here. The Yalta Conference between the Allied leaders of World War II came to a close on this date. In what year? Give or take a year.
1945.
You nailed it on the nipple.
There we go.
Let's see if there's another fun one. American inventor Thomas Edison held a world record of 1,093 patents, and he was born on this date in what year? Give or take 30 years. Because you're ignorant.
18.
So far, you're correct.
1840.
Dude, 1847.
No way.
Yeah.
Nice. That's pretty good.
All right. Good segment. We're moving on.
All right.
Here we go. Letters to the editor. What you got?
Hey, Greg, I went to Catholic school, K through 12, so I'm a recovering Catholic. There was a girl classmate that was in my grade. Her name was Margaret. This little redhead was a total pig pen. Nasty.
I love this. Keep reading. You want nasty, disheveled, and stank all the time. You can't even read. Greg has a silent laughing fit going right now.
I don't even remember why. I don't even remember why I put this in.
She would go to the front of the class and past my desk, and you could smell her BO. She stank. I shouldn't read ahead.
Who would write this in?
Who would read this and paste this into a professional show? She stank of dirty asshole. She's the reason, even though I'm happily married, I'm revolted by redheads. Have no desire to visit Ireland. This was the letter?
That was the whole thing. There was no point to it. It wasn't related to anything that we said on the show.
He won't go to Ireland because of the visceral memory of this dirty asshole.
I mean,
put her name.
I was just thinking about what a sad, poor girl this was, you know? What her life was.
Wait, I hope you didn't read the guy's name. We don't want to read his, poor Margaret. Let Margaret please live in ignorance right now.
What's ATB mean? All the best.
All the best.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mark. Oops.
Yeah.
We also got some submissions.
We
started asking people. Sleepy Hollow is the Headless Horseman. I grew up in Tarrytown. Our team mascot was the Headless Horseman, which seems insane, but that's what it was. I asked you for yours, and we've gotten a litany of responses. This one comes from Eddie Spear. He said, Marblehead, Massachusetts, birthplace of the American Navy.
I did not know that.
He also suggested that we add to the year-end show the music that we mentioned, or maybe make a playlist on Spotify. That's a good idea. Just keep track of any songs that we mention during the year and make a Spotify playlist.
Oh, I like that.
And we can keep adding to it. Every episode, we add the songs we talked about. I
think you might get corrected on litany. Litany is more like a petition, which has a list in it.
Like litigious?
It might come from that. But I think it's more lit, like writing. But I could be wrong there. We might be triggering more corrections.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on.
Peter Hawley said, my hometown, San Carlos, California, is the city of good living. The neighboring town, Redwood City, of course, I've heard of Redwood City, is, quote, climate best by government test, as determined by a pre-World War I climate survey. Let me tell you something. That climate, it's fucking windy, it's cold, and it rains a lot.
Didn't it burn down?
Redwood City?
No, I don't know. Where's Redwood City?
It's in the San Francisco Peninsula. Down.
Seriously?
Yeah, down below the city. Yeah.
You're going with that?
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right.
Yep.
It's right by Palo Alto.
Yep. This is from Brian in Madison, Wisconsin. He said, hey, man, it's not the town I live in, but an area I go every year on a fishing trip. There's a town named Waters Meet in Michigan's Upper Peninsula whose sports teams are named the Nimrods. Apparently, the team Nimrod means skillful hunter. It got the current meaning of idiot from a Bugs Bunny cartoon where he jokingly called Elmer Fudd a Nimrod, so everyone took it to mean what it does today. Fucking Bugs Bunny, man, was so goddamn funny. Like, when I think about my early comedy influences, like the things that made me interested in comedy, like Bugs Bunny was basically Groucho Marx.
Totally.
And he said so much funny shit, like, so long, Screwy. See you in St. Louis. That's for you, Denman.
See you in Kansas City.
Let's do Obituaries.
Here we go.
And that's all, folks.
Yeah. This has been an interesting take on Toby Keith, who passed away.
Yeah.
Very easy to dismiss, especially if you're a music snob. But then, there's a lot of articles and a lot of people paying tribute. I think I just saw one, which was, anyway, a lot of people coming to his defense.
Why were people going after him in the first place? Not being a good singer?
No, I don't think anyone knocked his singing. It was his songs, and then he got very patriotic.
Oh, okay.
And he doubled down. I think 9/11 was part of that. And I'm trying to find some of these ones, but
one's called "Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue," the Angry American.
Yeah,
it was a #1 song.
And but it was interesting. So I saw Colbert. He comes back from break after Act 1. And he seems very sincere, and he's like, Toby Keith, and he opened it with like all-time great, like he said something very like a superlative, like all-time great, Toby Keith has passed. And I didn't know what his angle would be, because he seemed like a very easy person for Colbert and his politics to dislike, especially back then when, Colbert and Stewart it was fish in a barrel, picking apart our reaction to 9/11.
Well, and also the Dixie Chicks. This guy really went after the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah, he went after some people who had sort of more open-minded thinking about 9/11 and how we should react and all that stuff. Anyway, but Colbert came to the brink of crying and got choked up. So he had him on his show, and this is Colbert's whole point, which is exactly what we're talking about, which is he had him on, he had cards to eviscerate him, and he, for some reason, had this moment when he was sitting there to first hear him and maybe don't attack him, because he didn't know that much about him and he was trusting the cards. And they became lifelong friends.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Nathan Wheat wrote in, please use the Toby Keith death and his feud with the Dixie Chicks to bring up Zach's joke about the trans country band he wanted to make called the Chixie Dicks.
Well, I guess we just did. I never heard that.
That's a great, perfect joke.
Yeah. So I don't, it's interesting. It's easy to, there's a very, maybe we'll put it on the website. There's this music fan talked about an encounter that I guess was legendary at Farm Aid, maybe, between Christopherson and Toby Keith. And Toby Keith said Christopherson, when he went out there, actually I can play it. Why not? I'll play it. It's shorter that way. But anyway, did you have anything to say about Toby Keith?
No, I really, I'm new to country music. I really am like pretty ignorant. I mean, if you were to tell me Toby Keith or Keith Urban, I wouldn't know the difference. I just am not that into country. There's certain artists that I've discovered through you and your girlfriend in the last few years. And, I always liked Lyle Lovett, Johnny Cash, and Willie Nelson and guys like that. But I think I've discovered Jason Isbell and Chris Stapleton and those guys in the last few years. And definitely we went to the Country Music Museum in Nashville. And I mean, you want to talk about you don't want to leave. It is so rich.
It's unbelievable.
It's great.
And everyone should watch Ken Burns' documentary, which is basically that museum. And you just see the influence. Like, here's the Atlantic, right? Which you would think would not be Team Toby Keith. And the headline, this was today, Toby Keith had more to talk about than his politics. The late singer became a household name by leaning into partisan controversy, obscuring his often artful songwriting. And so anyway, but here is this guy. So this is filed, this one under Toby Keith's Easy to Hate. And hopefully you can hear this. Let me know if you can or can't.
This is the only story about Toby fucking Keith that I will ever enjoy listening to.
Can you hear it?
Hearing.
Yeah.
So basically, he, as well as Chris Christopherson, who is another country music legend, were both invited to Willie Nelson's 70th birthday party. At some point, the two came face to face, had a few words, and Toby Keith apparently said something to the effect of, "None of that lefty shit out there, Chris." And former Army Ranger Chris Christopherson took exception to this. His response to Toby Keith was, and I quote, "Have you ever worn your country's uniform? No, you have not. Have you ever taken another man's life and then cashed the check your country gave for you to do so? The answer is no, you have not. So you need to shut the fuck up because you don't have any idea what you're talking about." This exchange also apparently got the attention of several other partygoers, to which he looked at them, pointed at Toby Keith, and said, "You know what Waylon Jennings said about guys like this? He said they're doing to country music what pantyhose did to finger fucking." I fucking love Chris Christopherson.
So
Jesus.
now I feel a little badly, like that's a pop shot at him. But first of all, if he started it with Chris, then he can go fuck himself. But that was probably just a bad move. And Toby Keith probably was humbled by that exchange. If everything I'm reading about him is true now, and he probably took it to heart and regrets it.
Huh. All right, let's cheer up.
Also, someone showed him. It's very interesting, these articles. And I think we're going to have a lot of that with the last thing I'll say. With a lot more people dying, of course, you're now judging on a curve that's a little more sensitive. But it's interesting when these other more human aspects of people come out. And with it's going to be the law of, it used to be the law of threes. It's going to be the law of 30s soon, with all the famous people, the first wave of famous people dying now. With television came in the 50s and stuff. Anyway, yeah, I just lost my train of thought, but I thought it was interesting. Oh, someone goes, here he is, standing ovation when Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize or something like that. So it wasn't as simple as we thought. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's cheer up.
That's a good obituary. Why don't we cheer up? Here we go to the funnies.
Well, Hager and the boys are, as usual, up to no good. They're outside of a castle. The king looks a little bit scared, and the gang is underneath. They got spears and axes, and Hager says, "I hate." And his wife is standing in the window behind the king, peering out. She looks wary, to say the least. And Hager goes, "I hate to tell you, we're raiding your castle." And then the king goes, "Can't you make an honest living?" And Hager goes, "Okay, I love to tell you we're raiding your castle." At that point, the queen is fucking out of there. All you see is the back of her head. She is running for the safety room. What do they call it? Their safety room where you lock yourself in?
The safe room?
She's in the safe room.
Yeah. Yeah, but she sees the passion.
They're very passionate, these Vikings, and they love women.
He got very good advice, probably from some career counselor, to do what you love.
Yeah, right.
And the queen is what he loves to do.
No, it said do what you love, no matter what.
Yeah.
Speaking of doing what you love, Leroy is giving it to Loretta, and he says to her, "It's important to admit when you're wrong, Loretta. It's not important to admit when I'm wrong."
I like
That's
that.
Cute. That's cute.
That is cute. Oh,
Leroy,
it's also, called a panic room.
Panic room, right.
But also safe room.
I would think if I was a Viking king's wife, I would have several panic rooms in the house.
Yeah, the panic attack room.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Leroy is in the boardroom, which I never picture Leroy in the boardroom. They never show it, but here he is. And the big honcho, the CEO, is leaning on the table in front of the 4 employees, and he goes, "You can fool some of the people all of the time. That's our customer base."
I love it. All right, so I'm gonna I'll give him credit next week. A listener emailed in, and hold on, let me get you on here, and recommended, because I'm quitting Kathy. Kathy is, it's truly depressing.
Yeah, and we get it. You get it. There's not a lot of range in that cartoon.
And I think it was supposed to be funny about depressing, but nope, missed it. It's just depressing. So anyway, this is what's it called? It's called it's not on here. I'll get it in a minute. But Guys on the Therapist Couch, it came recommended because it was similar to The Far Side sensibility. And he goes, Guys on the Psychiatrist Couch, and it's long nose, and you can kind of make out it's Pinocchio. And he's like, I miss the strings. And it says Pinocchio, the later years.
Wait, did he lose his strings?
Yeah, remember when he became a real...
right.
In the tale, he became a real person.
I got to reread that. It's been too long.
So when you're reading this, I'm going to look up, give this guy credit, and also get the name of this strip, which has been around for 30 years or something.
Yeah. All right, let's get to Blondie. And this is going to be tough because my wife came in. She's in the next room, and I don't know if she knows how I truly feel about Blondie.
Oh, that's amazing.
So here it is. Fucking Numbnuts is in bed in some donut pajamas, and she's sitting up, and she's got a frilly off-the-shoulder violet negligee. And he says, honey, you said you're fine, but are you really fine? And she said, why would I say I'm fine if I'm not fine? And he goes, the tone of your voice is saying not fine. And she goes, I said I'm fine. I meant I'm fine, so I must be fine, right? And then they've got a sleep cloud above his head, and he's going, oh, well, if she's fine, I can zzz. He falls asleep. And then she's got a thought bubble. If he knows what's good for him, he'll realize I'm not fine. This is the thing. How long do you have to be married to this woman? She's not complicated. She's not hiding her feelings. She is an open, like her cleavage, she is an open book. And she is telling you how she feels. Read between the lines. Get the subtext. Understand this poor, lonely woman who is starving. She is starving herself physically to make you happy. She's starving sexually, spiritually, and you are just dreaming about fucking ham sandwiches. It kills me.
Hi, Aaron. I can't find this email.
No.
All right, next week.
Yeah.
Next
Give us
week
something
I'll
to talk
come
about.
loaded with what that was.
All right, we got a lot of things to pay off next
in.
week. We got the comic strip. We've got all our bets on the Super Bowl. We've got your guys' predictions, which you're going to make on the link if you go to fitzdog.com, fill out the form. And I think there's a winner. There's got to be... What will we give to the winner, Mike? A koozie.
Winner of what?
Well, you fill out the form, and whoever gets the most correct wins a prize.
Oh, you see, I didn't see the form. I thought maybe they were getting money. Tim was tied into some pool that you enter, $5 each.
I don't know if he's just doing it for fun, but let's just say Tim can let us know who wins. And if it's one of our listeners, make sure when you fill out your name on this thing, write your name and then write Sunday Papers next to your name. And then we'll know that you're enrolled.
How about this? The highest, the most accurate listener gets a koozie.
Gets a koozie mailed to your house for $10.
Yeah. Probably takes 2 tries. Probably takes 2 tries to mail it. It's going to get chewed up in the machine.
Oh, why cut our sales in half?
No. Well, no. I mean, that's how special they are. I mail it twice.
Speaking of special, you guys are going to want to get involved with Joy Mode. If you go to joymode.com and use Papers at checkout, you'll get 20% off. Also, Game Time, the app that gets you into, theater, sports, music, everything. Go to Game Time app, create an account, and use code PAPERS for $20 off your first purchase. We want to thank Midcoast Media for doing a great job as always. Mike, anything you want to plug?
I don't think so. I started the movie Tender Mercies. Is that a good thing to plug? It's
that's
good
a great
so far.
One. Yep.
It's good so far.
Won the Oscar.
Did it?
Yep.
We know the daughter of the screenwriter.
We do?
Yep.
Who?
He also wrote To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right, man. No, I think everybody should enjoy the Super Bowl. I guess I more want Kansas City to lose than the 49ers to win. Yeah, I have no dog in this fight.
Tender Mercies won Best Picture, 1984. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Actor.
Are you sure? Really?
Yep.
Jesus. Okay.
I want to plug. Oh, you know what I'm watching that's really great is
True Detective.
No, I don't love it. I don't love it. No, I'm a little mediocre.
I have a lot. I'm making my list of the big shows that I've missed. I mean, The Wire's number one.
Griselda.
Oh yeah, I saw the documentary about that bitch.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Now
She was the Scarface.
There was a quote from Escobar. What's his name?
Yeah,
Pablo Escobar. He said, I've never been afraid of a man, but I'm afraid of a woman.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
Huh. He wasn't that articulate. What was his second language?
It's in Spanish.
He's
all
forced to say it in English.
Thanks for listening, you guys.
Take it, Aish.
Take it, Aish.
Take it, Aish.
2, 3.